Hey guys, this is Mapper with another Minecraft video. In this video I'm going to be building a base, and I want to show you how I actually design bases that are really hard to get into and that are meant to make people think twice before raiding me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to reveal to you the location, or not the location, but the design of my base. You guys can figure out the location yourself, but the design of the base, and then show you how I go about building it. So right now I'm inside a base that I've been working on for a little while. I had a bunch of my folks from Afro Circus, my faction, from the Clowncraft server, factions.clowncraft.co.uk, come over to help out with building it, and they've been great. Also want to give a shout out to Ethan115 for joining my faction. He's a buddy of mine, been playing for a while, and we've never actually been on a faction together, so he's joined up. And Ethan was cool enough to give me some new artwork for my channel. So go check out my new channel artwork. It's thanks to Ethan. So thanks, Ethan. Appreciate it. So back to the matter at hand here, which is creating a base that's super hard to get into and all that kind of good stuff. First off, in a properly configured Minecraft server, Minecraft faction server, there's no such thing as an impenetrable base, because a good faction server, in my opinion, is going to use the Obby Destroyer plugin or one similar to it. And what the Obby Destroyer plugin does, it allows obsidian to be destroyed by multiple TNT blasts. So you can't just wrap yourself in obsidian and call it a day. Instead, you got to think about how people might raid your base and to prepare for it. And that's what I try to do when I build a base up. And so if you head down to the description on this YouTube video, you'll actually see a link to a PDF that I've put up that is for the this particular base that I'm building right now. So I'm sharing with you the plans for this base. Don't use it against me, guys. I'm trusting you now. So you can just take a moment and pause this video if you need to, and open that PDF up, and you can see what it is I'm actually building right now. So I always start off all my designs with some sort of layout, just to give me a general idea of what it is I'm trying to build. And in this case, it's I'm trying to build a fairly defensible base, one that it is penetrable. As I said, all bases can be penetrated. So, but this one should be pretty tough to penetrate. And if you've got the the layout, the spec open, you'll see that there's layers and layers of walls here, and I'm in the process of building those layers of walls up. And my idea here is that I want to make the base such that people say, you know what, maybe I'll try to raid somebody else because this base is just a pain in the butt. So let's go through the design here, and it all starts actually with understanding where the chunk boundaries are. So in factions, every time you claim land, you do a /f claim, you're claiming a particular chunk of land. And that chunk within Minecraft is 16 by 16 blocks and then 256 blocks high. So 16 by 16 using the X and Z plane, and the Y plane is 256 high. So all the way from bedrock to the top of the sky. And the base that you're looking at here has it's 3 by 3 in terms of chunks. And you can see I've marked those out with a darker outline than other places. And you're actually going to see here, this is the, I'm looking right now at the walls, the top of the walls that I'm building, and you'll see that they correspond to the walls that you'll see in the spec that I put out. And in fact, this base, the walls at least, are nearly done. And soon I'll be working on the roof and tightening everything up, making it super tight. So going back to chunks, we've claimed 3 by 3 chunks. And the way that I usually find the boundaries of chunks is by using fmap, so /f for faction commands. And the faction command that I care about is map. And you can turn map on so that it auto updates, and that's what I usually do. So /fmap on is a great way to find where your chunk boundaries are, and you can then use those to build a strong base and take into account the chunk boundary, so you don't waste your claimed land or otherwise claim too much, that sort of a thing. So once you've found your boundaries, you can decide how big you want your base to be. I like my bases to be, at least 3 by 3, because I like to actually live in the base and do cool stuff in the base. It's not just a vault for me. So that's typically how I operate. And in this case, I've got 3 by 3, and I've got layers and layers of walls. So if you look on the outside, the outermost part of these of this base, you'll see that I've got stone as an outside, and typically I use smooth stone. And the reason for smooth stone is not just for decoration and for the fact that it's kind of smooth and it's different than cobble. It's because if anyone comes upon my territory and sees that, wow, this guy's Afro Circus has all these chunks claimed, they might want to find out exactly where the base is. And if they decide to go way down to bedrock or to down underneath the surface, which is where I'm building the base, I want them to come across just smooth stone. And I want them to think, oh, maybe it's not actually underground. Maybe this guy claimed land but hasn't started building a base. Let's not worry about it. And again, this is not an impenetrable base. Anyone that tells you they can build an impenetrable base is trying to sell you something. So instead, this is a base that is tough to get into, and that's about all I can say about it. So inside that smooth stone wall, we then have lava, and lava is an interesting building material. It's very tricky to use, and when I build with lava, I don't just put lava at the top of the base or whatever and let it just rain down. I actually put lava in every single, I should say, lava source block in every single space. So it's if anyone breaks through the smooth stone, which a couple guys actually did when I was first starting the base a few days ago. Shout out to Orlando 2100 and Benjamin Rocks who found the base and attempted to get in and succeeded in some ways. They found the base and decided to set off some TNT just outside to see if they could break in. And of course, the TNT did go off. It broke through the smooth stone, and then lava flowed in on them, and they were somewhat hindered from penetrating. Now, as I was just building the base, my walls weren't all the way up, and they simply walked around and found where the walls weren't up and managed to get in that way. But we had a nice little chat, sorted things out, decided on a truce, and the rest is history. But again, that second layer is lava, and I like it because I think it causes confusion for players. Most players, they don't really want to deal with lava. They don't deal with it all the time. It has the potential of destroying them, burning them up, all that kind of stuff. And even if they are prepared with, say, a potion of fire resistance, it still blocks their line of sight and just makes things uncomfortable. So that's why I've got lava out there. It's not really part of the core base design, but it's out there. The other thing about lava, it's not affected by sponges. So a lot of players seem to forget about the power of sponges to be able to remove water. And when building a base that gets, someone can simply come up to the edge, use a sponge, suck up all the water, and then blast right through their walls without any trouble. So this prevents that. Now, in fact, here we are. I'm in the inside of the walls that I'm working on. You can actually see there's the outermost smooth stone wall. There's lava source blocks all around, and there's another layer of stone, mainly just to keep the lava in place. And then we have this our first layer of water. And that is the placement of that is important because it's 4 blocks from claimed land. And the reason it's 4 blocks from claimed land is that the range of sponges is 3 blocks, at least in 1.7x and before, version 1.7x. That's actually changing in 1.8. But because I'm playing on a faction server that uses the Bucket plugin, I know the Bucket isn't updated to 1.8 yet, and likely won't be updated to 1.8 for some time, so I'm not too worried about that. So I'm assuming that it's going to continue to work as under the 1.7x rules, and therefore 3 blocks is the range of sponges. Therefore, having it 4 blocks out is sufficient to keep me safe. So that's why that's why those blocks are where they are. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that you'll notice that I have water on the one hand and lava separated from with a stone block, with a stone wall. Now, what happens when water and lava collide? Well, we know that they can end up making a cobble generator or doing other things. And I don't really know if this works or not, but my thought was that it might result in a self-regenerating wall. So in other words, if someone were to blast through that layer of stone that's between the lava and the water, that the water and the lava might interact and cause cobblestone to be created, thus regenerating the wall. It's also possible that the water just touches the lava and turns it to obsidian. It's possible that the lava touches the water and turns it to smooth stone. But either way, it definitely messes things up and makes things kind of chaotic in there. And so I don't really know what will happen. But it should make anyone who wishes to raid this base have to think a little bit about it, and maybe it'll slow them down, maybe it won't. I really don't know. But I figured it was a good idea. And so I want that water there to protect the next layer, which is obsidian. So I have an outer obsidian wall, and that outer obsidian wall is the first what I consider real line of defense here. Because if someone comes in with a cannon, at the very least they're going to need to use a hybrid cannon and multiple shots and good timing and things like that in order to blast through the outer obsidian wall. And beyond that outer obsidian wall, I then have another cobblestone wall, another stone wall. It's actually just smooth stone, is the way I built it. But that could very well have been obsidian as well. I really just was being a little bit cheap and decided not to have 3 obsidian walls. I thought that was a little bit overkill. If someone can get through 2, then they can get through. Then they're going to get through 3 as well. So, but I do think that 2 obsidian walls is pretty cool, and that's where we get to the next layer of obsidian, and then finally there's an internal wall which you can see the foundations for right here, and I'm just using stone brick. And this is really not meant to be too much of a wall. It's really for decoration, so we don't have to stare at this dark, dark obsidian whenever we're in our base. We can have a light base with lots of, I don't know, maybe we'll switch this around, make it decorated in different styles, whatever. But I like Minecraft not just for going around and raiding people and killing people and things like that, but I also like it for the sense of style and design and things that you can build that are a lot of fun. And so that's why I went ahead and made the choice to go with an interior wall that was, I mean, it's functional, I guess. Maybe it'll help. But the reality is, if someone can blast through all those different layers of wall, then one last layer of stone brick isn't going to do much. So that's kind of my feelings about it. So it's decorative, but also kind of cool. So I've just walked you through these different layers of walls that we're building. And the last question is, what do we do with the roof? And as you can see, I like to build up fairly high. This isn't going to be to the sky type of a base, at least not at this time. So I'm going to put a pretty strong roof on top of it. And at the very least, it's going to be a couple layers of obsidian with water over it. I'm not sure. Someone asked me if I was going to wrap all the layers of the walls around to form a roof. In other words, make it kind of like a jawbreaker or something like that. And, I could do that. Maybe I will. What that would end up doing is it would end up having every single one of these layers come up and wrap around and make the roof extremely thick, extremely impenetrable. And it would also mean that there's lava all the way around the base, including overhead, which is a little bit freaky. But I'm not sure if that would help with those that are, there's some people that cheat on the server and use X-ray. I'm not a fan of cheating. I don't think that's cool, but some people do that. And if I recall correctly, I think lava prevents X-ray from working. And I could be wrong, but if that's the case, then wrapping the entire base in lava, including having a lava roof, might make the base just look like some big block of lava. Again, I don't really know, but that's just a thought. Maybe those of you that are smarter than I am and more knowledgeable could post something in the comments whether that would be true or not. I've never actually used an X-ray mod or anything like that. Of course, like anyone who's played Minecraft before, the Minecraft game is known for being glitchy. So every once in a while you can kind of see through blocks and stuff like that. But that's the only time I've ever had any experience with X-ray type stuff. But anyway, that's the long and short of it. And I thought I would just share how I go about designing a base and what I'm thinking about. The last thing is, there's this internal space, and you can see that I've laid out glowstone blocks that I like to embed in the floor, just so they don't take up as much space. The lighting doesn't take up space that could otherwise be used for cool stuff. And that to me, that's a kind of a nice little feature. But the question is, how much space do you really need? And I don't know what the answer is to that. What I do with my bases is I like to build machines and contraptions that help me make money. And so for those of you that are familiar with my Clowncraft base, which I have a video out that kind of gives you a tour of that, you know that I built a whole bunch of machines, a KFC machine that would help keep me in chicken, and what I call the KF cow machine, which is the same type of thing but for cows, and a KF pig machine, Kentucky Fried Pig. And the purpose for those machines was not only to allow us to have food. Ooh, I'm out of arrows, looks like. But also to give us village trades, because I wanted to have plenty of villager trades. And here's this little guy. He's coming around here. Kind of exciting. And villager trades is how I made tons of money by essentially taking advantage in the Clowncraft server of the price of emeralds, the value of emeralds on that server. On the server I'm currently on, emeralds are not worth nearly as much, and that type of economic strategy won't work quite as well as it did on Clowncraft. But it's still a possible strategy. In fact, here you can see I have a little villager farm up here. This guy's kind of escaped here. Another one, we have another escapee down here as well, to allow us to have access to villager trades in case we decide we want them. But so going back to the purpose and the size, in this case, I think we are 28 by 28 usable blocks with 20 blocks worth of walls, 10 on either side, across those 3 by 3 chunks. So that's a fair amount of space. It's not huge. You're not going to have huge farms or anything like that, but it allows us to have some machines, maybe some machines that help us get wood and other things like that, so that we don't have to go around hunting for supplies. Really, if you think about it, Minecraft is very much about making the most of your time. And so I like to make machines that allow me to get more XP, that allow me to get more materials, that allow me to get more money with as little time invested as possible. So I spend time making the machines, and then hopefully those machines pay back by allowing me to get whatever it is they're supposed to do very quickly. So that's what I do. And then Afro Circus, I think some of you know that we have our own music pack. And that's just a resource pack that replaces all the Minecraft discs with kind of cool tracks. Most of them are dubstep tracks, music that we like. And so that's the other thing that we got to make sure there's plenty of room for, which is the Afro Circus dance floor. So at some point in the middle here, we'll have a nice little dance floor. We already got a jukebox set up. Let's see if there's anything in the jukebox at the moment. I think I just got Mall, Disc Mall. Let me see if I don't recall if I've played that or not. Where did I get Mall? Here it is. Let's see what Mall is on this on our Afro Circus music pack. Here we go. Ah, Linkin Park, it sounds like. So this is the kind of stuff that we all listen to and groove out on in Afro Circus. So anyway, this is it. Thanks, guys. You can see that the base is coming along. I'll continue to build this out. Oh, you also notice that I like to use lava instead of obsidian. Sometimes I'll mine obsidian if I have a really good pick and that kind of stuff, and I'll eventually do that as well. It's good for the mining MCMMO skill. But at this point, I've mainly been using lava. It's easy to transport. You don't have to worry about it. And you can see how I just work with it fairly safely here. So anyway, thanks, guys. Appreciate hanging out with me. And I'll have another video in a little while. Bye.